sown their plots. Central Equatoria took it serious and they want to do the sowing. But what happened? They were disorganized with unknown powers. But still, we want them to do the sowing. Heard something about the land audit. The land audit. The land audit. We need to see that all this land after the policy, we need to come up with something, the land audit, so that we know exactly why are we allotting and we don't audit. What is the total number of the allotted plots in this country? Finally, IOM, organize yourself to bring in the pastoralist community, the farmers, the states, ministries, and the commissioners. Let them come and discuss these issues of the cattle raiding, encroachment to the farmland, and also the grabbing.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good afternoon. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. The Commission of Kajukeji County has said Uganda has deployed across 4 border areas in South Sudan's Kajukeji County, contrary to a recent de-escalation agreement between the two countries. A senior member of South Sudan's National Parliament has claimed that unidentified forces are obstructing the Central Equatorial State government from showing land plots to their rightful owners despite efforts to do so. And tensions remain high in Kakuma refugee camp following a violent demonstration earlier this week that left 2 people dead and 1 injured amid growing frustrations over a controversial aid targeting system introduced by humanitarian agencies. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. The Commission of Kajukeji County has said Uganda has deployed across 4 border areas in South Sudan's Kajukeji County, contrary to a recent de-escalation agreement between the two countries. Wani Jackson Mule says the Uganda People's Defense Forces are no longer confined to Nainga Moda, the initial flashpoint of the border clashes. Instead, Jackson said they have expanded operations into 4 new areas. These include Gologo, Alimara, Merua, and Kurianga, the latter being a mountainous area where the UPDF troops reportedly arrived on Tuesday. He said the deployment includes military tanks at key entry points along the South Sudan-Uganda border, including the Purai-Mako Road near Kawende Stream. Jackson describes to iRadio the situation in the area this morning.
They are still inside the territory of Kajukeji. Not only in Nyangamoda now, the other time when the fighting started, it was only limited to that village of Nyangamoda. But now they have expanded to more areas by deploying more troops to other areas that were not formally having their presence in. And in new areas they deploy better because also displacement of the residents who are in those areas because of fear of area escalation. Now there are 4 areas that have been marked where the already yesterday and the 21st and yesterday they made new forces in. That is the situation, apart from the one on Nyangamoda.
The county official is now urging the national authorities, IGAD and the African Union to take immediate steps to avoid further escalation.
Yes, I'm requesting the national government to engage proactively with the authorities in Kampala to make sure that they really effect what they say by stopping anything to do with the new deployments. Apart from the issue in Nyangamoda, there should be no new deployments to some new areas, also creating new fear, new displacement, and sometimes may even create tensions. Now, for example, if on our side we also begin deploying, countering those new deployments, there will be high chance of clashing. So that should be stopped. And then the whole issue must be isolated to that of Nyangamoda until it is resolved by the two governments.
Commissioner Mule called on the people of Kajukeji to remain calm but vigilant as the county authority continue to engage with relevant institutions for a peaceful resolution. Meanwhile, the Central Equatoria State Security Committee has called for calm following the incursion by the Uganda People's Defense Forces in Kajukeji County earlier this week. The appeal was made during the committee's weekly meeting chaired by Governor Rabi Mujung Emmanuel. Speaking to the media, Acting Minister of Information and Communication Jacob Aligo Loladu said the state government is closely coordinating with the national authorities to address the incident and respond accordingly. At least 5 South Sudanese servicemen were killed in the attack on Tuesday, with thousands of civilians displaced. The committee also reviewed the border security situation across the state. While the overall environment remains generally calm, Honorable Aligo noted that isolated security incidents continue to be reported in Morobo and Yei River counties. He warned that activities of armed holdout groups remain a threat to civilians and travelers, especially along major roads. In addition, the minister noted that the state continues to register incidents of criminal activity, underscoring the need for vigilance and stronger law enforcement measures. A senior member of South Sudan's National Parliament has claimed that unidentified forces are obstructing the Central Equatoria state government from showing land plots to their rightful owners despite efforts to do so. Ambrose Lomin, chairperson of the Specialized Committee on Land and Environment, said during a recent public forum that Central Equatoria had taken seriously the public outcry over unallocated plots but was swathed by what he described as disorganizing unknown powers. He was speaking during a public lecture on an administration at the University of Juba on Tuesday.
The blame from Central Equatoria. I was very hurt, and the Parliament was very hurt on why Central Equatoria is allotting a plot to the public and the owners are not shown their plots. Central Equatoria took it serious and they want to do the sowing. But what happened? They were disorganized with unknown powers. But still, we want them to do the sowing.
The lawmaker emphasized the need for transparency and accountability in land administration and called for a national land audit to determine how many plots have been allotted and to whom. Lomin also urged the International Organization for Migration to convene an inclusive dialogue involving pastoralists, farmers, and the state authorities to address persistent land-related conflicts, including cattle raiding, encroachment of farmland, and illegal land grabbing. He further encouraged young people and women to stay engaged in land reform policy processes, assuring them that their contributions are being recognized even if not immediately. The remarks come amid ongoing disputes over land ownership allocation and access in Central Equatoria and other parts of the country where land has remained a key source of tension and conflict. You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. South Sudan's Undersecretary of Peace Building has warned that the politicization of land policy could fuel conflict, while urging authorities and communities to treat land management as a critical peace-building tool. Speaking during a public lecture on land administration at the University of Juba on Tuesday, Pierre Philip called for inclusive, transparent, and culturally grounded systems for land governance, stressing that the land lies at the heart of both conflict and peace in South Sudan. The event, organized by the International Organization for Migration, brought together academics, policymakers, students, and international partners for an open discussion on land-related challenges in South Sudan. The Undersecretary said that land rights must be respected for all citizens, including vulnerable groups. He criticized customs that deny widows access to land, questioning whether such practices are still appropriate in today's context. According to Philip, proper land governance can prevent disputes, promote social cohesion, and contribute to national stability, but only if policies are inclusive and free from political manipulation.
If South Sudanese decide to politicize the land policy, we are setting a bad precedent for our children and for South Sudan. But if we do it in an open and honest manner, it will be a peace-building tool for generations to come. When issues of corruption, allied capture, I want so much land in Juba town, by any means, by use of force, by use of my position, because I'm so powerful, then that's an area that will not bring social cohesion. And this will remain a cause of conflict for generations to come. Land is a cause of conflict, a very key factor of conflict, a root cause of conflict, but the peace-building aspect is management of land in a transparent, honest, and considerate manner.
And finally, tensions remain high in Kakuma refugee camp following a violent demonstration earlier this week that left 2 people dead and 1 injured amid growing frustrations over a controversial aid targeting system introduced by humanitarian agencies. Wilfred Molana, a South Sudanese youth leader in the camp, told iRadio in an interview that the situation has deeply unsettled residents across the camp, which is a home to over 200,000 refugees from more than 20 nationalities. The recent clashes stem from long-standing tension between refugee and humanitarian agencies led by the UNHCR and the World Food Programme, which have implemented a new ratio model based on household vulnerability. Under the plan, commonly referred to by refugees as aid recipients are divided into 4 groups. Only those deemed highly vulnerable, categories 1 and 2, receive full food ratios, while others are expected to be empowered through livelihood opportunities. However, many refugees, including single mothers, people with disabilities, and the elderly, say they have been wrongly classified into categories 3 and 4, leaving them with little to no support. He added that the decision to implement the aid cuts has led to rising frustration and a sense of betrayal among many in the camp who were already struggling with reduced food ratio since March. Following the deadly protest, Molana said implementing agencies had referred injured individuals for medical treatment in Elodert and Lodwar, but no formal dialogue or reconciliation meeting with community leaders had yet been initiated.
So that means, first of all, I can say that people are not safe because people live with hunger. The same thing, some people were injured during that demonstration. And it is like, the number is known. People were through it. So that incident, the one happened in Kalbe, two were reports that they are dead and one was injured. So with the implementing agencies, since it was the day before yesterday, still there is ongoing process whereby maybe they will plan for a dialogue with the leaders or with the communities, but still yet the meeting was not yet called. They have only made some referrals for the injured to maybe Eldoret, Lodwa for some further treatment, but still dialogue is not yet took place.
While the Department of Refugee Service has provided general security, Molana said that during demonstration and confrontations, protection often fails, exposing residents to harm. He warned that if the aid system remains unchanged and grievances unaddressed, Kakuma could face deeper instability. You're listening to iRadio News, and now for the regional and international news, we are joined by my colleague Nyamod Pod.
Good afternoon. Let's have a look at the stories making headlines from the international scene. Israel's gunfire killed at least 30 Palestinians waiting for humanitarian aid in northern Gaza on Wednesday, according to the Hamas-run Civil Defense Agency. A Gaza Civil Defense spokesperson told the AFP news agency that Israel's fire wounded around 300 more people. Israel said details of the incident are still being examined. Elsewhere, Donald Trump says Canada's move to recognize a Palestinian state threatens a U.S.-Canada trade deal. Canada announced the move on Wednesday following similar announcement from the UK and France. The president has set a deadline of August 1st for countries to make a trade deal with the U.S. or face higher tariffs. Finally, Passengers have been urged to check flight information with their airlines after an air traffic control issue caused disruption to all airports on Wednesday. Some passengers have reported delays, and one travel expert told the BBC the disruption could last for days. Airlines are demanding answers after more than 150 flights were cancelled on Wednesday and thousands more were grounded. My name is Nyamotpot. And now back to you, my colleague in the studio.
Thank you, Nyamot. And now for the sports news, we are joined by Obajoko Chagao.
Hello and welcome to iRadio Sport News. South Sudan has made history again after qualifying for the quarterfinal of the 2025 Women's Afrobasket. The Bright Starlets beat Egypt 75-67 on Wednesday, marking their first ever win at the tournament and first victory over Egypt. South Sudan trailed by 19 points but staged a strong second half comeback led by Delicia Washington, who recorded 24 rebounds and 19 points. Rose McCoy and Maria Gagdeng also impressed as the team dominated the rebounds and second chances points. The win sent South Sudan to the last 8 in their debut appearance, setting up a quarter-final date with its Uganda neighbor. In transfer news, Chelsea have agreed to sign Ajax defender Gorwil Hato to £37 million. The 19-year-old will sign a 7-year deal after his medical test. Luis Diaz has left Liverpool for Bayern Munich in a deal worth up to £65 million. Sunderland have signed Granit Xhaka from Bayer Leverkusen. Manchester City confirmed the signing of goalkeeper James Trafford from Burnley. And finally, in tennis, American Taylor Fritz reached the third round of the Toronto Masters after beating Spain Carabals in the straight set. That is your sports update on iRadio. Back to you, my colleague in the studio, Baria Johnson.
Thank you, Obej. You're listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. The Commission of Kajukeji County has said Uganda has deployed across 4 border areas in South Sudan's Kajukeji County, contrary to a recent de-escalation agreement between the two countries. A senior member of South Sudan's National Parliament has claimed that unidentified forces are obstructing the Central Equatorial State government from showing land plots to their rightful owners despite efforts to do so. And tensions remain high in Kakuma refugee camp following a violent demonstration earlier this week that left 2 people dead and 1 injured amid growing frustrations over a controversial aid targeting system introduced by humanitarian agencies. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Baria Johnson. Thanks for listening.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
The blame from Central Equatoria. I was very hurt, and the Parliament was very hurt on why Central Equatoria is allotting a plot to the public and the owners are not shown their plots. Central Equatoria took it serious and they want to do the sowing. But what happened? They were disorganized with unknown powers. But still, we want them to do the sowing. Heard something about the land audit. The land audit. The land audit. We need to see that all this land after the policy, we need to come up with something, the land audit, so that we know exactly why are we allotting and we don't audit. What is the total number of the allotted plots in this country? Finally, IOM, organize yourself to bring in the pastoralist community, the farmers, the states, ministries, and the commissioners.